So thank you everyone for joining today. Just to recap, Thrive is all about providing the right resources to businesses to help them grow, to help you grow and achieve the success and sustainability and get to all the dreams that you are trying to get to. Anything that we can help you with, we have a great team of people to help you, not just us, but we have the right resources to get you to where you want to go. Just a few things to know about. We do still have our free consults monthly. If there's anything you want to talk about what's going on in your business, if it's plateauing or any issues that come up, we're here. We're happy to help you and to talk about that. And secondly, we are also starting August going to be downgrading our weeks to every other week, lunch and learn. So we still hope to see you then, but it won't hopefully impact everyone's schedule as much. And with that, we are here to help you, and we are going to get on with our presentation.
So our speakers today is Jeff Freedman. He's a growth-driven market professional with more than 2 decades of hands-on experience in consulting and managing operations and marketing for small business enterprises. Jeffrey designs and implements strategic plans that solve challenges in work processes and flow, including implementing systems, processes, and automation, enabling businesses to thrive. And with Jeff today is Howard. Howard's an ROI-focused marketing partner with more than 18 years of practical experience driving marketing and communications and delivering effective new client acquisition and development strategies with outbound and inbound marketing campaigns. His experience helps guide companies to more productive sales meetings and client development and closing well-qualified sales in technology, professional services, and diverse B2B industries. So with that, I will turn it over to Jeff and Howard.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew and Dina and Grant and everybody for joining us today. Just want to say before we start, so Howard and I started this joint venture, this joint partnership just a few months ago. Obviously, he and I have been doing this for many, many years separately. And upon kind of learning what each of us did, we saw this as a really good synergistic opportunity to join forces and see how we can help businesses not just bring on new customers, but also retain those customers, grow their business, become more efficient, kind of putting it all into one big package. So we welcome your feedback from our presentation today. We're really looking forward to kind of diving into it. And with that, I'm going to let Howard kick us off.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeff, and delighted to be joining you all today. I've been enjoying these events over the last several weeks and getting to understand the group and the dynamic, and delighted to get to know Jeff over the last 3 months. We've been working very intensely and closely together on this. Jeff's an absolute pleasure to work with and collaborate. He's a perfect partner to work with, and really appreciate Jeff's invitation to join with him in putting together a very compelling package. So we're excited to share with you all today. This is our first presentation on this package we've been working on together. So we absolutely welcome your feedback, any suggestions. We're going to be tweaking this along the way. And so happy to be with you. Look, we're glad to share today. So with that, I will, we'll go through it. Basically, so what this is about, so there's a couple of questions here I'm going to ask. Is your company stymied and throwing off momentum from the coronavirus? And do you need and or want more business now? Do you need more capacity for fulfilling and growing your company? Are you seeking practical, executable guidance and implementation to adapt to the new business landscape and position for growth? And if any of these questions apply to your business, we can help. We have a solution.
So, and that solution is what we're calling Growth 360, which is a results-driven 360-degree business growth solution. It's a synergistic offering to better align your business and position you for strength and scalability. Your business will thrive from our results-driven new client acquisition and development strategies. So the way we do it, we've kind of got this multi-prong approach here where we're going to be combining the tools and capabilities to help you design the strategies and automation that you need. We're going to be improving your lead flow. We're going to be working with you to help you capture, not just capture leads, but also fulfill that business. And then, of course, the big part is the operational efficiencies to make sure that all this stuff works together so that you can achieve that growth, achieve that success, and achieve the goals that you're trying to achieve. So, Howard, if you want to kind of.
Our full 360-degree package enables you to attract and convert highly qualified prospects, increase the volume you can fulfill with the capacity to scale. Customized to your needs from the following services.
So the upcoming list here, this is kind of our strategy. This is how we approach it. So this is a good point right now. If anybody has any questions about kind of what we're getting into, feel free to chime in. I'm going to jump into really kind of the meat of what we're going to be, what we can do. And again, things that you can think about of how you can improve your business too, whether it's individually, whether it's with a team. And of course, we're here to help as well. So one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to assess where you are right now. There's a lot of parts to your business that could be working great and could be room for improvement. So we're always looking for those efficiency enhancements, whether it's the processes that you're following, whether it's how you're describing your individual jobs to your employees, how your structure is set up, what's the hierarchy, and then what is your overall capacity to manage current and new business?
So here, as part of this full 360-degree solution, again, as Jeff's saying, we have all these various components that fit synergistically together, really kind of leveraging our respective capabilities. So here in this part of our components, we're evaluating the customer relation management system that the client is using, deciding on if we're going to be either enhancing the existing CRM for the client to improve performance or recommend a new platform, to really help them to optimize their lead origination and nurturing, as well as their overall sales performance. And CRM, as you all know, is a very important engine for the growth and the operation of the company. So as we go through here, these various components, you're going to see CRM coming back in for the various facets of our offering, of our solution.
And beyond
Jeff,
just,
real quick, before you jump in,
yes.
I wanted to ask a quick question. In terms of the CRM, how do you see that fitting in, and what do people need to capture? How are they going to use that? We hear that term so often. Can you give a little more detail around that?
Yeah, Grant, that's an excellent question. CRM is going to be coming up over the next few slides, so I would just ask that maybe you hold that until we go through the presentation, because it's going to be coming up again, and that's going to answer some of the question you just asked, and then we'll go back and sort of fill it in, if that makes sense to you.
Perfect.
And what you'll see, Grant, and what everybody will see is kind of the driver of a lot of the systems that we're doing is that CRM. That's where you're capturing your leads. That's where we're going to be loading a lot of information into the CRM, but we're also going to be using your CRM to automate and enhance the flow. And that's really become here where we're going to design a lot of workflows. So a lot of businesses just kind of move by the seat of their pants. I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing the same, not because you don't think about it, not because you don't want to, but clients come in, clients have needs, and you just want to fulfill those needs. And the time to sit down and really think about those workflows becomes very difficult. And again, you're kind of looking at it with blinders too, because you're trying to move 1,000,000 miles a minute. And to take that step back and improve the processes also means that you're going to be cutting into that time that you can be working with clients. That's why bringing in professionals like any of us on TPG really are beneficial. But again, the two things we're going to do is we're going to be designing these workflows to streamline the processes, but also one of the things we want to do is we want to make sure that we're establishing those KPIs. That's so important. If we don't have ways that we can measure success, then we really don't know if we're achieving our goals, if we're being successful.
Great. Well said, Jim. So, here we get into a comprehensive evaluation of the client's marketing and customer acquisition strategies. Now, bear in mind, if it wasn't already apparent, this solution is geared to B2B companies. If any of you all were a little confused on that, this is in the B2B arena. So all this is structured around the B2B company structure and client segment, the business segment. So here we're going to evaluate the marketing and customer acquisition strategies to that B2B segment, to business clients. Includes the business target profile, messaging and content, lead origination, qualification and nurturing processes, all that lead to closing qualified sale.
So really with that one, we need to know what you're doing. Again, that's all part of that evaluation. And then Grant, this kind of answers some of your question too. You know, we're going to, whatever the CRM that we select is, and this is that next step in the process. So it could be we want to use your existing CRM system because you've got so much information in there already that it's going to be very difficult to move it out. But we also don't want to limit ourselves by that. We want to make sure that this CRM can grow with you, that it's got the capabilities to ensure the automated workflows for the lead capture and the conversion and the onboarding, the fulfillment and retention. There's so many different parts to growing a successful business, and the CRM can really be the heart and soul of it to keep everything together. We're also be using it for the sales process and follow-up strategies. Again, it's going to correspond with the prospect journey. So we want to make sure that whatever that prospect is doing from that first touch point until they say, yes, I want to hire you again, it's all part of this flow that we're building out so that you know what's going to happen. You know, you can predict how it's going to flow, and you can, you know, help that customer through that journey.
And just to embellish on that, we're utilizing, Grant, the CRM to help the client really leverage the features of the CRM to track the buyer journey. So we're going to provide to the client and leveraging the CRM to be able to connect with the buyer, you know, the prospect through their journey, you know, to becoming a customer. And again, the CRM is a very important part in that engagement with the buyer journey. So here in this in this cell, we speak to we're going to bring it once we've identified, you know, we define the ideal client profile, that ideal business client profile. We're going to bring in leads to the CRM. The various sources, business publishers that I've used over the years, such as InfoUSA, other publishers, strategic lists. The client has their own database. All the leads are going to be aligned within the CRM so that we can help them with a very results-driven lead generation campaign. Okay, and then once we've brought in the CRM, we're going to be looking at setting up the marketing channels. So a very important.
Before we move into that, if you don't mind if I can ask the question again. So can you just reiterate again, like why people need a CRM, what goes into, what should be going into the CRM? What do people need to know when they're trying to set up a CRM for success?
Jeff, do you want?
Sure, I can take that one. Yeah. So, you know, the goal with the CRM is, you know, a lot of different businesses do different things when they're talking about prospects, when they're talking about customers. It really comes down to engaging with your customers. So some of the main things you want to look at when you're looking at and evaluating CRMs are, you know, at its core, will it capture all the information about your customer that you need? And not just your customer, but your prospect. So all that information, you know, how is it storing it? How easily accessible is that information? How much can you put your information in there as well? Notes on when you talk to the customer, information you need to have for yourself so that it's easily accessible. It's at your fingertips. You can set a next step. You know, a lot of businesses where they fall short is, you know, you make a great contact, you have a great conversation, but then you get busy with something else and you don't have that follow-up, or you have that follow-up, but you don't have all the notes in front of you about what you talked about before. So that's one of the big things there. You know, we also use the CRM as kind of that main platform of, you know, we can bucket our prospects into different groups. We can reach out to them. Again, here we're talking about telemarketing scripts. So we need to know who it is that we're talking to, and we need to make sure that we're talking to them in a format that's going to match with them. You know, when we look at a lot of these workflows, a lot of CRM systems can allow you to implement workflows into their platform so that when A happens, B, C, and D are going to follow right behind it. So, you know, there's ones that you can add on and grow with you. Obviously, there's ones that everybody know about, like HubSpot or Zoho, you know, but there's other more specific and industry-specific platforms out there. That's something else to look at, that if it's going to help your business, we want to make sure that you're not just getting that CRM, but leveraging all the different features of it, which a lot of these are very, very in-depth. Does that kind of answer what you were looking for, Dina?
Yeah, and Dina, let me also embellish on Jeff's excellent clarification there, elaboration there, just to say that when it comes to marketing strategy, a CRM is so important, so empowering for a cohesive, organized, and methodical marketing strategy. So here I'm about to comment on the marketing channels, outbound marketing channels, to deploy a cross-channel outbound campaign. Well, CRM is extremely helpful for coordinating a marketing communication strategy across different channels. You can use such as HubSpot, which is great for inbound marketing, but they're also excellent for managing outbound activities. So telemarketing is one important channel in the B2B world. Email and direct mail are two other key outbound marketing channels. Well, all that gets integrated and managed through the CRM, where the leads are tagged, and the activities are deployed and managed, and there is a visibility for all of the channels that have been deployed through the CRM. Does that make sense, Dina?
Yeah, so if I'm repeating it back right, it sounds like a CRM is a place where all the contact information is put, but it's more used to control the activities in your central resource area, telling you what do you need to do next, or automating it and just doing it for you.
Excellent summary, Dina. You're a sharp student.
Thanks, Howard.
Okay, so here, so thanks for that, Dina. And so here we talk about the channels that we're deploying in for outbound. Custom, with the telemarketing script, I've been doing this for years. It's sort of a hallmark of my strategy. So we decide what outbound channels for a targeted cross-channel outbound campaign that we're going to deploy for the client. So typically telemarketing is a very, very important channel, but I always recommend to the client that we're going to use other outbound channels preceding a telemarketing effort, so that it's not just strictly a cold call. And so here we're going to customize the telemarketing scripts for a successful conversation, including the value proposition, qualifying questions, common objections and their best responses, talking points, and effective closings for the next step in the sales process. So I create this as a tool for the inside sales team. Often I'm executing this with the client, but this is a weapon, the script, to really empower the inside sales effort to manage everything within one document that is clear, is cogent, easy to manage, a successful 10-minute conversation where the recipient doesn't know that you have a script, but it sort of arms the caller for how to wage a successful conversation at the C level. In the next slide, Jeff, you see that we're going to deploy messaging in additional outbound channels. So this is extremely important in a cross-channel outbound lead generation strategy, where you're warming up the landscape before you're reaching out to them by phone. The phone is really, even in today's world, it's an inescapable tool to engage, connect with the right stakeholder, engage them, and there are ways to warm the landscape. There's LinkedIn. Here, you would send that. I always suggest another channel, such as an email or a direct mail, postcard, and a letter that you're reaching out to that target stakeholder audience to kind of use that as a trigger when you get them on the phone. Okay, and then in addition to that, and concurrent with setting up those outbound channels where you're creating messaging, you're writing, I'm developing messaging and content for the script to have a successful conversation. I'm creating an email blast or a postcard. Well, that messaging needs to be consistent with what is on the website and the client's other marketing collateral. So inevitably, as we're creating content for a multi-channel campaign, we're also looking at their website. We may make refinements, additions to their website material or to their other marketing collateral. Okay, might want to go on to the next slide.
So, and again,
right.
The thought process with a lot of that stuff that Howard was just talking about, that's all around making sure that the customer or the prospect you're talking to is warmed up. They know who you are. You're not calling them out of the blue. They've got an idea of who you are. The more they've heard about you, the more that you can personalize the message to them based on their needs, the more likely they are to be responsive to you. So one of the things we do here is it's not just that initial call. Once we get them to a point where, okay, they're interested or they've even signed on to become a client, that's not where the process ends. That's actually where the next part of the process is going to kick in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see, okay, what's the onboarding? How are they bringing these new clients on? And what's the process of retaining them? How are they making sure, again, if you're getting new clients all the time, but you're also losing new clients at the same process, you're not growing your business. You're just kind of funneling everybody through. So you need to not just bring on new business, but keep the business that you have. So you want to optimize everything that you're doing so that, again, you get 10 new clients. You don't necessarily need to hire 10 new employees. You just need to be set up that you can handle the volume. And that's really a big part of it. The CRM is certainly a big tool with that. It's also any other workflows that we can do. Doesn't have to be within a system. It can be wherever you have to need it. But again, you have to have these systems in place so that you know how to bring on a customer, how to retain that customer, how to fulfill the customer. So really a big part of what we do is kind of that hands-on consulting. So it's not just we're going to set up a whole bunch of systems, wipe our hands and call it a day. We're going to work with you to make sure you understand how do you use these scripts that we created for the telemarketing? How do you implement the emails that we put out there? How do you continue this journey? Because we're going to do this for you for a couple months. We're going to get you set up. But the main goal is to make you somewhat self-sufficient where sure, we can come in on an ongoing basis to help you maintain it. But this is your company. This is something that you need to really do it. So we're going to have the action plan. We're going to teach you how to use all the systems. We're going to make sure that you understand what you're doing. We're going to make sure that you understand what those KPIs are and how to achieve those KPIs and how to measure everything that you're doing.
Excellent. So then, as Jeff is just very articulately saying there, we want to put in place systems, activities, and processes that the client is comfortable in embracing and continuing for the growth of their business, for client retention, fulfillment, helping them with their operational efficiencies, with new techniques, strategies, systems in place, the CRM that we've optimized for them, so that they're able to continue to grow their business, have capacity for growth. So we're going to offer, as part of this solution, we're offering a 30 and 60-day checkup to gauge how the new action systems and processes that we've put in place are working, hear from the client, tweak any needed improvements for efficiencies, for the acquisition fulfillment processes that we've implemented in the engagement, and to see how this is working and what may need to be revised. We're going to come in at 30 days, and then we'll come back in 60 days. And then if they want an ongoing engagement, we can offer that as well. But like Jeff said, the objective is to provide them lasting value and benefits that will be ongoing for their survival and growth of their business.
So thank you, Howard. What I'm hearing is that a lot of people in general, and I know I've experienced this also, is that they're focusing so much on the lead generation. When someone becomes a customer, they're not focusing on what that experience is like. And now the problem is that people really need to realize that you need to handhold and you need to be in communication. You have to have metrics to hold yourself accountable to. And your CRM becomes very valuable for maintaining those relationships and keeping those clients. And that's what you hope to solve that problem.
And again, it's not just, and it's not just the CRM. I'm sorry, Howard. It's not just the CRM. It's also the fundamental policies and processes that your team is doing. So yes, the CRM is a very valuable tool, but it's also, your team. Making sure your team understands how to use the tools, making sure your team understands where their role is. If you've got everybody lined up as a jack of all trades, then you've got nobody that's focusing on the different areas that need it. And really kind of where Howard and I saw this overlap was, Howard is extremely well-versed and extremely experienced in bringing on new leads, new customers, helping you grow that side of the business. My focus, while certainly overlapping some with Howard with the marketing side of things, it's not just the acquisition, it's the engagement, it's the retention, it's making sure that these customers aren't just coming in and then falling to the wayside, but that you know how to treat your customers well, you know how to fulfill your customers well, and you're also not, breaking your back trying to do it. You've got the systems in place to make it more efficient. So, we put this combined 40 years of practical hands-on experience, along with the fundamentals we're talking about to make sure that you can grow. And again, it's looking at the new business landscape. We mentioned that a couple of times. Things have changed. And kind of where Howard and I started was looking at the coronavirus landscape and seeing, hey, where are people struggling right now? But we also didn't want to limit it because who knows how long this is going to last for. So we're looking at it as, we're not going to use the term the new normal because things are going to continuously change. It's just this ever evolving business landscape and making sure that you're able to adapt to it. So, here's kind of a quick, I know Andrew kind of went over it when we started. Here's my bio in a little bit more detail. Just, I've spent over 20 years, working with the operations and the marketing and kind of putting it all together and saying, we're not just going to lead the horse to water and hope that the business can get them to drink. It's not just, can you get the leads to come to you? It's, can you convert them? Can you hold them? And that's what's going to allow your business to survive. It's those fundamental processes, the workflows, how you treat your customer, how you fulfill them. That's really what I bring to the table. And then Howard's side.
So I've been for over 18 years as a marketing strategist working with clients in the B2B sector across the B2B spectrum: technology, professional services, especially B2B enterprises. I've worked in solar, I've worked in financial services, strictly B2B, well, I should say primarily B2B over the last 18 years for traditional outbound marketing strategy, cross-channel outbound marketing, and helping my clients really hone in on who they're targeting, how to reach their target audience, how to engage their target audience through the 3 traditional outbound channels, and win the right clients for their business. I've also done digital strategy, so I understand digital channels. Over the last 5 years, I have deep training in digital strategy, inbound marketing with, for example, HubSpot being the primary player in as a CRM for inbound marketing. And so, this works synergistically with Jeff's capability on the overarching operations of a company and the workflow and efficiencies of a company so that they have capacity to grow. And then I help really to focus in on building those new client relations with the right companies, proper targeting, messaging, engaging, and winning those new customers. And my experience with that over the last 18 years seems to fit very well with what Jeff is aiming to accomplish on the operational side. So
I know we're coming up on time. Thank you, Howard. I know we're coming up on time, so I want to make sure that, if we're going to share this deck with everybody, we welcome your feedback. Again, like we said, we're still kind of working through the details of this joint venture that we're putting together. So we welcome your feedback. If you want to share it with others that you think could benefit from it or that could give us feedback, we really would appreciate it. We thank you for your time today. We want to open it up. I know there's not much time left, and I'm going to kind of toss this back over to you guys for questions and obviously upcoming events. So I don't know if there's any questions out there.
We got one question that came in. We got with the last minute. Let's quick try to address that. So the question's around workflow. You mentioned it a couple of times and KPIs. Can you give us some examples of what a workflow is within this kind of marketing outreach you're discussing, and what maybe some sample KPIs would be for a company that they should be watching out for?
Sure, absolutely. So, we're looking at the workflow. It's what happens when you send out an email and a customer responds to it. Are you manually responding to every single one of those inquiries? Or are we putting that into a workflow that can say, if this customer responds, respond back with this email? That's some of the automation side of the workflow too. But it's setting up those systems. Again, like I mentioned earlier, when a customer needs a certain item or a certain service, what happens at that point? Are there certain team members that are assigned to it and then that's triggered? And then, or is it part of the fulfillment? So when we're looking at the acquisition side, it's how do we utilize our team best? How do we utilize our tools best? How do we have all those things set up to make sure that things don't get stymied, things don't just sit there and fall off, that there are clear next steps? Again, the beauty of the workflow is there's never a question, what do I do next? It's built into the workflow. It's built into the system. I just did this. Now here's what's coming up next. KPIs to measure, that's all over the place. It really depends on what your goals are. So I don't want to get too into it because I know we're at time, but, are you looking to get more customers? Are you looking to grow your revenue? Are you looking to fulfill quicker? These are all different measurable things that we can put in there to say, hey, we've achieved that goal. How do we continue to that, or how do we reset that to move on? So hopefully that answers the question. Go ahead, Howard.
Yeah, I would just interject. Great question with Grant. Great response, Jeff. that when it comes to lead generation, Grant, we start as sort of like a baseline and look at where the client is as far as how many leads are they reaching out to, what is the response rate for their lead generation, what is their engagement rate, their conversion rate. So we take that as a baseline in lead generation, Grant, and then we look at, what are realistic KPIs for improving on those metrics for how many leads they're reaching, what is the response rate that they're getting in reaching out to those leads through email and telemarketing, what is their conversion rate to turning into a new customer. Those are classic KPIs that we also evaluate from the starting point and then what they want to accomplish through the engagement and moving forward.
Got it. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all the knowledge you shared today and all your time. And so for those attending, next week we've got Nickel Lightsow from PSA. He's going to be sharing some risk management tips and things to look out for your business, and then how commercial insurance should and can fit in to support some of those risks. So tune in next week, and then after that we'll be switching to every other week, as Dina mentioned. Thanks so much, and see you next week.
Thanks so much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.